Das ist hier der Klicker für die Präse wahrscheinlich, ne? Tu mal so, als ob der mir gehört.
Hi, I'm Jake Pietras. I'm CEO and founder of reptileworks. We build virtual companies and we help companies to get their processes lean and so they can really focus on what they're actually doing. And I really believe in storytelling.
Hi, my name is Maria Kotschedoff, and I'm an executive coach, keynote speaker, social activist, and founder of purpose.hub. With purpose.hub, we help people to lead their companies and their life with purpose and empower everybody to follow their dreams. And for that, you always need storytelling. That's why I believe in storytelling. And to give you a quick overview what storytelling means in general, just imagine, this moment when you are on a party and you're kind of looking to somebody else, and then you start to chit-chat with them. And then maybe you also exchange phone numbers. And then you have already in your mind some details. And then there is this hour, days, until you get a message from the other person. Everything that happens in between is actually the storytelling in your head. So your emotions lead you to decide, will she write me? Is she interested? Does she just want to have a one-night stand? Is there a relationship in there? So everything that's in there, it's actually storytelling in your head, as I said. And it's because we decide emotionally and we justify rationally. So what does that mean? It means that our brains are wired in the way that we always come up with a story to make sense of our life, of our environment, and whatever we do. So the important thing out of that is that you, first of all, are not afraid about storytelling, or you just think that storytelling is something for movies or for writers. No, storytelling is actually very important for your business.
So the question always is, why should we do storytelling? Why should we start with this concept, which is basically, like Lena said, something that is coming out from movies, from stories, and even from like thousands of years ago in theaters and plays. The first reason is pretty obvious. It's you want to sell your product. So to sell a product, you can do it the one way, and you can do it in a more emotional way. So Simon Sinek, as you probably know Simon Sinek from his Golden Circle, he had a great example for this. He said that you can tell a product by just telling what features the smartphone maybe has, or what kind of specs this smartphone has. You can go with numbers, you can go with figures, you can go with all the technical details, or you can do it like Apple. You can tell a story behind it. So you can say, this camera doesn't has this much megapixels, but this camera enables you to capture all your beautiful family moments. This is one great example for why storytelling is so important, and why great storytelling, sells products. And if you don't have any storytelling, or don't have a good story behind it, you don't sell that much product. So that would be the first reason. The second one would be you want to create or generate ambassadors or fans of your brand, of you as a person, if you like. This may be evangelists, fans, followers, or as it's called in marketing terms, leads. So you want to generate people actually believe in your product and get a glimpse of what is this company, or what is this product, or what is this service actually about. So you can do you can do storytelling for two other reasons. The second one would be to build a culture for your company. So this can be seen from the perspective that you try to attract talents or programmers, designers, whatever people you want to build your startup, your company, or your NGO. So you want to attract a certain kind of people who actually share the values and to get them interested in your company or in your process or whatever you want to do. You need to tell compelling story. The second point would be, if you have the people in your company, what do you do with them? You have to tell the story in the long term. So to create a corporate culture, you have to tell the story on and on and on, and keep the people interested in your company, and not generate a fluctuation of employees. Well, the third reason would be you need to attract stakeholders. I think for a lot of companies, especially startups, it's pretty important to generate some kind of buzz for to generate interest on the one side for investors. So why is this product or the service interesting to invest in? How to get your funding to actually scale it, and so on. Second stakeholder would be public services. So if you need regulations, certifications for certain things, like in the food industry or in the health industry, you would need to get a compelling story told in a certain way to public institutions. And the third one would be partners, which you can actually partner up with, to who can enable to flesh out your product and to work on that product and to spread your product maybe. So these are different kinds of stories you can tell, and you need to just focus on how can I tell the right story to the right audience.
Exactly. So after Jake showed you that there are different reasons why storytelling for you as a startup is so important, you should always also think about, what kind of story should I tell? So let's take the example of, you want to engage fans, followers, create ambassadors, people that actually buy into your company, to your idea, and help you to spread the word. This, for example, then should be a very story about a status quo that you are challenging. Let's take Elon Musk for an example with SpaceX. He said that by 10% of the price of the cost that normally they needed to go to the planet, to go to the space station, he accepted the challenge with SpaceX, and this year they went there. But actually, the story that he's also telling in this environment is that he says that in the future, we will need another planet to live on. So you can see that everything that's involved, for example, Elon Musk, that most of us know, is that he used different kinds of stories depending to whom he is telling that. If he tells it, for example, to investors, then he probably will focus more on costs and on numbers and figures. If he tells it to get fans, followers, ambassadors, then he wants them to buy into the change in the future. But also there is, if you take Amazon has a lot of stories to tell. So we have the story of Jeff Bezos, why he started. That's a pretty personal one. But then there's also the story that everybody knows, but actually they have never told. This is the story that they want to become the biggest supermarket in the world. This is a very strong story for them, because through that, Amazon justifies that they're not paying out wins, that they are reinvesting everything in the company. So with these two examples, you see what different kind of stories you can use and you should use, depending on from whom you want to get your buy-in. Doesn't matter what kind of story you want to tell. What's the most important thing is that you tell the right story in the right way to the right audience. So the how of the storytelling for a startup is very important as well.
So the how is always the most frequent question we get, because it's also the question is always the same. So how do we actually do it? We want to sell a product, and you tend to go into, well, this is our product, and we try to build some kind of story out of it. So the most common one you've probably heard a lot of is, we want to change the world. That's why we built this database or something like that. So that's not the starting point of it, but what you should do is actually, to what Lena said, try to find what kind of story actually motivates you to sell your product, or to what you did why you choose that story to sell your product or to do what you do. So that's always the source of, well, this is what we are telling. And then you get to the point, okay, which channels do we use? Should we do TikTok? Should we do LinkedIn? Should we do YouTube videos? Should we do podcasts? And we don't want to get into most of the detail which channel to choose. The most important one is just go where your audience is, or where your buyers are, or where your fans are, or whatever you want to achieve. So for most companies or startups, it is if your clients are on TikTok, go to TikTok, even if you don't like TikTok. If your clients are on LinkedIn or on other channels, if your clients are on YouTube because it's a visual audience, or your product is a visual one, go on YouTube. So the channel is always depending on your product and where your clients actually are. And then it comes to, well, we have a story, and it can be condensed into maybe a company claim, or a subtitle to your company if you want. But that's just the essence of your story. What you want to do in the next years, or hopefully decades to come, is to flesh this story out. So I'm a big Star Wars fan, so a Star Wars analogy is probably the best one I can come up with. The question behind Star Wars was always, I just dug myself pretty much into this, why and how George Lucas built Star Wars. And why is Star Wars so compelling? Because it's a fleshed out universe. So everything looks lived in. So that even when you see Star Wars for the first time, as a viewer, you see, oh, some things happened already here. So if you see the Millennium Falcon, where there are blaster or laser gun marks on the hull, you know, okay, something already happened here. So this is a story behind it. So this is what I mean with flesh out your story. You just put more elements and more stories to your product. Just imagine the Millennium Falcon as your product, and now try to tell what happened to it. Why is this here? You can think of, well, Jabba the Hutt's palace, maybe, for if you've seen Star Wars. If you don't, I just advise you to do it. It's a great kind of way to tell stories. If you see Jabba the Hutt's palace, well, why is that interesting that it doesn't look clean or brand new, and who are these characters, and so on. So this is kind of fleshing out your story, and this can happen as there's a popular term which has become popular in the last years, which is content marketing. So you have a great product, you have a story, you have defined your mission statements maybe, and then you try to flesh it out with all the kind of content that somehow is related to it. So you try to tell, maybe if you're a financial advisor, or if you have an app for yoga, maybe you can topics to flesh your story out would be, okay, our target audience is looking for a healthy way to live, and what else could be interesting to them. So you could try to tell, you could do this kind of food advice for it. You can do meditation maybe. So things that actually aren't your product, which you're not selling, but they flesh out everything that you actually do. So this is one great way to actually do it. Like I said, the weapons of choice are yours to choose. Podcasts have become very popular, corporate blogs. If you're into B2B, white papers have become very popular, and of course, social media. And like I said, it's always really depending on, is your audience actually there, or isn't it? And then try to build your story according to this channel. So some things work better on Twitter or Instagram, and some things work better on a YouTube channel or in a podcast. But no matter what your story is, it's always the source or the essence of it is always the same, and then you adapt it to the special channel. So,
well, so to conclude everything, we just want to point out that storytelling, especially in the context of startups, is like a never-ending story, because you start when you have the first idea, then you start when you're on your phase 1 early stage startup, and you keep on creating your story. But as Jake said, it's important that you know and you get clear about your main story. This is the one that needs to be compelling. This is the one that needs to be authentic. And then around that, you create like the other little supporting stories, like the example of the castle of Jabba the Hutt. Palace, sorry. He just made me watch Star Wars, so now I'm a huge fan as well. But that's actually the thing. It's create a lived-in universe for the environment, for your startup, and storytelling is actually the best and the most compelling way for it. And never forget, it's a never-ending story. It never ends, so keep on telling it.
So what I just like to add is always remember to ask yourself those 3 simple questions. Why do we want to story tell? So to get the essence out of it, and what is actually a story? What do we want to tell? So is this a personal reason you started this company, or is it, are you a challenger or a disruptor for a certain kind of area where you work in? And the how, so how do I tell this story, and what is my audience? So always try to think of these 3 things. And why is our video called Why Apple Isn't a Fruit? Because when you hear the name Apple, you don't think of the fruit apple, of the fruit apple. You think about the company. And why is that? Because Apple is telling us such a good story, what their product, for whom the products are for, and what the products actually represent, and what you can do with them in a very storytelling, compelling kind of way. So they got to a point which is actually what every marketer or everyone who wants to tell a story, they really perfected the way to just to market a simple name like Apple, to create stories and everything around it in your head just by thinking of the name. And that's just what I want to tell you guys for our storytelling video.
Yeah, so just become a good storyteller.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.